Welcome to the original extreme sport in the world. Welcome to STIHL Timbersports. 12 of the world's top wood chopping and sawing athletes will compete in duels with axe and saw to see who's the fastest. Here, it's all about power, accuracy, technique, and speed. This is STIHL Timbersports Champions Trophy 2019. This year, the competition takes place in Sweden.
I don't know too much at all about Sweden, but, happy to be educated on some history. What do you got for me?
The Champions Trophy will be held just outside Gothenburg, the second largest city in the country, located on the west coast of Sweden.
We love competing, but the sights we get to see while we're on tour like this, it's amazing.
It's like, wow. Of all things we get a chance to do with our sport, it's to get to go to these places.
I'm very excited about Sweden.
It's nice to be here, beautiful country.
There's been lots of scenery we've been able to check out.
Wow, like, I never thought I could be here.
The picturesque Skjoldeholm Castle is located just south of Gothenburg. Skjoldeholm is a popular place to visit for many citizens of Gothenburg to relax and recharge their batteries, but this year the castle will be hosting anything but a calm and quiet attraction.
It looks beautiful, the venue, so I wouldn't mind having a little bit of a look around later.
And while I'm there, I'm like, yeah, I really want to compete well, but then you look up and you just happen to realize, you start to take in the surroundings and you're like, man, it's so awesome just to be here. And
it's a very beautiful place here. This is something real special.
Competed at a lot of beautiful places, but yeah, this one certainly is the top of the list.
yeah, loving it here in Sweden. It's a beautiful place, and it's just another part of the world that I get a chance to see with going to these Champion Trophy events.
3, 2, 1, go! The Champions Trophy traditionally marks the start of the international STIHL Timbersports season and is considered to be the most spectacular and difficult competition the sport of woodchopping has to offer.
The Champions Trophy is it's special for many different reasons. You know, it is kind of the pinnacle of timber sports. Like, these are the top guys that are here.
It's all about a knockout round, one-on-one, and you're going full-out sprint.
It's pretty cutthroat, so if you make a mistake or you mess up somewhere, then you're eliminated straight away. You pack your bags and go home.
You feel all the adrenaline come through right away. You know you've made it through to the next round, or you know that you didn't put enough training in.
The Champions Trophy stands out probably at the top for me, really, because the 4 disciplines back-to-back really makes you, earn it.
This is the hardest competition for the sport lumberjacks around the world.
Yeah, well, the Champions Trophy's got 4 different events. You start off with the stock saw.
Good clean start by both of these athletes.
You want to stay really calm when you cut the stock saw, so you get a nice clean cut. It's just one cut down, and you put that down and run across to the underhand.
Only one cookie being cut off here.
Cut the underhand, quick as possible, and then you run back to the single buck.
Going to the single buck.
You really got to concentrate on the single buck that you get a good start, because it's quite hard to start the saw and get away quick.
2-meter long saw.
Your body's starting to hurt a bit in the single buck, and you got to push through.
Cutting through that block.
Then you're moving to the standing.
He cut that cookie cleanly and moves over to standing block.
You have to really push it to get a good standing block.
Leave it all on the floor in that and just go your hardest. And hopefully when you finish, you're number one.
The athlete who can endure will be the STIHL Timbersports Champions Trophy winner 2019 and take some generous prize money and this spectacular trophy home with them. And there's Spike Milton with the trophy, followed by Lawrence O'Toole, the reigning world champion. There we see Martin Komarek, one of the true gentlemen of the sport. There's Elgin Pugh from Great Britain, and of course Robert Ebner from Germany. And there we have Jesse Whitehead from New Zealand, who's filling in for the injured Jason Wynyard. Here's one of the favorites, Matt Kogar from the USA. Oh, and there we see Ferry Swan with a big smile on his face, and the reigning Champions Trophy winner, Sterling Hart from Canada. And joining us on stage last, our host from the host nation, Ferry Swan. And here we go with the results from yesterday's time trial. The fastest four, Matt Kogar, Mikael Dubicki, Lawrence O'Toole, and defending champ Sterling Hart have automatically qualified for the quarters, while contestants ranked from 5 to 12 will now be fighting it out in the last chance for the remaining 4 places in the quarterfinals. Czech Martin Komarek will be up against Jesse Whitehead from New Zealand. The Austrian Armin Kugler will face Great Britain's Elgin Pugh. Local hero Ferry Svan will be up against Martin Kalina from the Czech Republic, and Robert Ebner from Germany will be battling it out against the Italian Andrea Rossi. And we are ready for the first matchup of the day. Martin Komarek from the Czech Republic makes his way to the stage.
My goal is not so big like about the podium because I had accident in my hand, so I'm very happy to be here.
And his opponent, Jesse Whitehead.
It's nice to be here. It's a beautiful country. Now it's first time in Europe. It'll be one of the nicest places I've ever competed at.
And here we go, Martin Komarek and Jesse Whitehead coming up onto the stage. Martin Komarek, 42 years of age. Jesse, a young buck at just 28. Komarek was 4th last year at the Champions Trophy in Marseille and the best European. But Jesse Whitehead coming in for the injured Jason Wynyard, and that is not a light task. And here we have a good start by both of the guys. A real thick piece by Komarek on the stock saw, and he gets through that very quickly and over to the underhand chop. Whitehead getting in on that side quickly, as well as these two guys battling it out to see who is going to move on to the quarterfinal. Remember, this is last chance here, so it's only the fastest in each heat that would be moving on. So far, so good for both of them. On the other side of their logs, it looks like Whitehead might have a slight advantage, but look at this, Komarek, oh! A quick mistake on the underhand chop, and that cost Komarek big time as Whitehead gets through clean, and he is over onto the single buck and already working that saw. And if he's had any training from Jason Wynyard, you know he's gonna be butter on this piece of equipment. Look at him go, but look at that, Martin Komarek. The classic comes back fast, and he has caught up to Whitehead as they go to standing block chop. Whitehead in first, but Komarek is such a magician, and here we go. Can he do it? Can he catch up? Can Komarek do the job and move on to the quarterfinals? He moves over to the other side just ahead of Whitehead. Slight advantage for Komarek, who came back from a massive mistake on the underhand chop. It's going to be close here, folks. Look at this. Whitehead pounding away. Komarek gets his axe stuck in the block. He has to pull it out. That takes energy and time. Who's it going to be? Oh my goodness, how close is this? It looks like it might be Komarek. No! It's Jesse Whitehead with a time of 1:26.29. Komarek still working that axe, but man, it's just getting stuck in the wood, finally breaking through in 1:33.97, well off his personal best of 1:05.03. Looking back at the slow-mos here, great start. There's the final blow by Komarek. Unfortunately for him, his day is done.
Okay, and the winner is Jesse Whitehead.
Yeah, I was going a little bit on the border, so I tried to drive too early and I didn't hit properly, so it was a mistake.
Elgin Pugh warming up and getting ready for action.
You know, I'd like to think I'd finish maybe somewhere around 10th and 6th, possibly, you know.
Pugh throwing high fives, seeming relaxed. Armin Kugler already focused.
Yeah,
A few years ago, I already competed in St. Johann. I made it to the 5th place there, and this would be a goal for this year.
Pretty good matchup here between Armin Kugler and Elgin Pugh. They're pretty evenly balanced here as far as their skills are concerned. Elgin Pugh definitely good with the stock saw. Here we go. Great start by both, keeping even pressure. Looks like Elgin Pugh's going to have that stock saw. Oh, they were dead even on the drop of those discs on stock saw as they move over to the underhand chop. Here's somewhere where Armin Kugler absolutely excels. He's very quick with the axe. He gets deep on the first side. There we see Elgin Pugh working his first side, now moving over to the other side. Armin Kugler looking very good, getting in deep, slabbing nice big chunks out of that block, and he has broken it first, moving over to the single buck. A 2-meter long saw, tons of sweeping and cutting teeth, and that thing is a bear if you get it stuck anywhere along the line and have to restart. It takes so much energy, and right now Armin Kugler in control of this heat as he moves over to the last discipline here in this race, and that is the standing block. Finally, Elgin Pugh makes his way over. This is not the best performance we've seen for Elgin Pugh so far. He is definitely faster than this. Armin Kugler, however, is looking very good. Great time is coming up for Kugler as he's going to get through there with one final blow, and he's through in a time of 1:10.04. That's a personal best, and look how happy he is. Elgin Pugh still struggling on the first side. Finally moves over to the other side and gets through in 1:31.57. Disappointed with that time. And there's that great final cut through by Armin Kugler and the last blow on the standing block. Very nice.
Okay, and the winner is Armin Kugler.
The Swedish fans are going wild now because here comes their local hero, Ferry Svan. The young Swede can hardly wait for the show to start.
Hi, my name is Ferry Svan, 22 years old, from Vansbro, Sweden. I'm a Timbersports athlete. I chose Timbersports because I'm a forest and nature person, and I went to the forestry program in high school. I always wanted to do sports and exercise. I think it's fun, and Timbersports is a perfect combination of sports and the feeling of forest. My mom and dad are very important in this, and they help me a lot. My mom helps me with my training, schedule setup, and also technique. My dad does that too, but he's a lot like me and likes to work with his body and fixes everything around the training.
Ferry not only trains with an axe and a saw, but he also uses weights and often works out with his friends as much as possible.
Ferry is difficult to describe. He's energetic, very kind, always happy, and he fights for his best. He gives everything he's got. He's a good guy. He's also very competitive. I don't know anyone that is more competitive than he is. He's one of the most extreme persons I've ever seen. Most definitely, I can say that I am a Timbersports pro. I do live the Timbersports. I don't do much else than train, eat, and sleep. My whole life is built around this, and I do think that this is necessary to become the person that I want to be.
Ferry was practically born with sport in his blood. Both of his parents were successful cross-country skiers, and he achieved a very special victory at the STIHL Timbersports 2017 Rookie World Championship.
It was a very special feeling. I mean, I've heard the Swedish national anthem many times before when it was being played for myself. But when your child is up there, getting a medal, that is something extraordinary. He didn't have it in his mind when we went to the Rookie World Championships, so the outcome was a big surprise.
stor överraskning att det blev som det blev. Men å andra sidan,
But on the other hand, he lit a spark within himself that he really likes it.
det här är ju jätteroligt.
This is what he wants to do.
Ferry still enjoying the adulation of the crowd, while his opponent, Martin Kalina, is totally focused.
It's a great honor for me to compete with all these great names. I'm not intimidated by them. I just have to give it my all, whoever I'm up against.
All right, here we go. Getting the saws set up. Ferry Swan versus Martin Kalina from the Czech Republic. Of course, the audience favorite, Ferry. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Stock saw first, using that steel 661 right off the shelf. No adaptations or anything. And both of them drop the disc at the same time. Good start. Ferry faster over to the underhand chop and gets started right away. But not far behind is Martin Kalina. And everybody here cheering on Ferry Swan as he slabs out some big ones there on the first side and moves quickly over to the other side. All that training in the off-season making him stronger and more fit is definitely going to help his game along here as he's almost through the underhand chop, gets the axe caught just slightly. Martin Kalina does the same thing, but Ferry Swan gets through first. Not far behind is Martin Kalina as they head over to the single buck. Ferry struggling to get that thing into the groove, but look how long he has those strokes going. Ferry Swan with a great look at that saw. And here we go, Martin Kalina. He gets a big catch there, but Martin Kalina, oh my goodness, Martin Kalina almost caught up to the local guy, Ferry Swan. His dad in the audience looking on as we go to the standing block chop. This, my folks, my ladies and gentlemen, my friends, is a dead even heat. My goodness, both to the same side, moving over to the other side. It's going to be close. Ferry Swan looking good. Martin Kalina surprisingly very good. Will Ferry Swan be able to get through there? He gets the axe caught. So does Kalina, and a final blow by Ferry Swan gets him just ahead by only a couple hundredths of a second. And there's his mom, super happy about that final blow. Wow, how close was that?
Okay, and the winner is Ferry Swan.
I was too stressed, but I managed to win the heat, so pretty happy with that, but not a good run.
And there we see Germany's Robert Ebner warming up with a skipping rope before his heat.
My goal for this year is to stress some of the pros. Maybe best European or the podium would be great.
Robert Ebner will be matched up against a very strong Italian, Andrea Rossi.
The most important thing is to focus and give everything you have.
And there we see age 33 Robert Ebner, Andrea Rossi 11 years older at age 44, but Rossi is absolutely fit, so Ebner is going to have a challenge on his hands. Here we go. Stock saw first. Rossi looking good. Very good pressure, and he drops the cookie just ahead of Ebner, but they both move over to the underhand chop pretty much dead even. Stroke for stroke now on the underhand chop. Rossi, Ebner, Ebner, Rossi. Both digging in on that first side. Who will go over to the other side first? It's going to be Rossi and then Ebner. Big power hits from both of these guys, not like the Australians or the New Zealand team where they have fast, quick hits, but very, very strong hits here. And it looks like Ebner might be through just ahead of Rossi. Oh, but it's so even there. Rossi managed to get there just on time, and now it comes to the single buck. Ebner's been training on the single buck a lot lately because it was one of his weaker disciplines, a quick hook by Rossi, and another one slows him down big time, and Ebner has the advantage as he drops the cookie first and moves over to the standing block chop. Looking very good now on the standing block chop, and Rossi had another catch as he finally gets to the standing block chop, but a big advantage for Ebner as he has 3 or 4 more hits on that first side than Rossi does, and it looks good for Abner to be moving on. But Rossi's a power hitter, and if he moves over to the other side and gets a couple of really good blows in there, he may well strike Abner down. But a final fantastic blow by Abner puts him ahead with a time of 1:19.17, and Rossi is struggling to get finished on that standing block and finally does it in 1:41.55. A very good start by both of these guys, and I actually thought that Rossi had the advantage here on that stock saw. He did get out there first, but it was Abner who managed to stay calm on that long single buck and just take the lead, and he never looked back.
Okay, and the winner is Robert Ebner.
In the first round, I could see a chance of maybe winning or for a good time, and so I saved a lot of my energy for the second round.
So we can now see what the quarterfinal matchups look like. Jesse Whitehead will face Matt Kogar. Armin Kugler will be up against the defending champion Sterling Hart. Ferry Swan will be engaged in a European duel with Mikael Dubicki, and Robert Abner will be slugging it out with Lawrence O'Toole. Matt Kogar can't wait for the matches to start. He won the U.S. Trophy last year and therefore qualified for the Champions Trophy.
Yeah, to represent the United States here in Sweden, it's a lot of national pride just because you're the best competitor out of the U.S. You know, I do have the standing block world record, just fight up in the standing block.
For a time better than 12.33. Let's see if we can make it happen. Oh my God! Matthew Kogar gets the world record by a bullet with an 11.31 after the adjustment. An amazing hit on that block from Matthew Kogar. Unbelievable.
The last event is a standing block, but I think that little bit of skill in knowing how to take the block apart will help in the last event, because the lactic acid's in your muscles, you're feeling tired, you gotta push past that, you gotta get that out of your head and just take the block off in the end. So kind of the goal for me for this Champions Trophy event is to be under a minute, because I know I can do it. And if everything works, the axes are going good, the wood's excellent this year, then hopefully I can cut under a minute. It's an extra notch in your belt for that, you know? So yeah, it'd be good to have a ring. Hopefully it fits.
Before he can snatch that title, Matt Kogar must first contend with Jesse Whitehead from New Zealand. And here they come. Jesse Whitehead 28, Matt Kogar 32. They're not that far off age-wise. You can see Kogar has the height advantage, but that's not always going to play a huge factor as we get ready to go. Here we are.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Stock saw Jesse Whitehead with a great start there. Good even pressure by Kogar as he gets through there just ahead of Whitehead, moving over to the underhand chop. We saw Whitehead earlier on doing a great job in this discipline, and we know New Zealand is strong for their chopping disciplines. Matt Kogar, Whitehead, both moving over to the other side now. It's pretty evenly matched up here. Like I said, right off the hop, Matt Kogar is going to have his work cut out for him if he wants to move on to the semis, and he's done it here quickly through the underhand chop. Oh, Whitehead got off too early, but stepped back up and it broke off. That's going to count. Moving to that single buck. Remember, it's a 2-meter long saw with cutting blades and sweeping teeth. It's unbelievably hard to control, and we see Matt Kogar just gets lucky with that last little stroke. The cookie falls off complete and now moves over to the standing block chop. Whitehead took a lot longer to get through that single buck this time, and he is at a distinct disadvantage. Matt Kogar has already moved over to the other side of his standing block chop. He is well and good ahead of Jesse Whitehead as they come towards the end of this heat here. And Matt Kogar drops the block at 109.23, beating Jesse Whitehead, who did move over quickly, but it took him a long time to finish off that block with the last final blows. He knows he's out. We'll look back here at the slow-mo action. Fantastic pictures there. Jesse Whitehead looked really good at the start, but Matt Kogar was just too strong today.
Okay, the winner is Matt Koga.
It was probably my best run so far. I just was lacking a bit of energy from the run before. Did a few things that took a bit of extra time in that and drained some energy.
Sterling Hart is the man to beat, but is he smart enough to handle the pressure?
It's always harder to stay on top than it is to get on top. When you're in second place trying to win your first gold, you have all that motivation to get there. You can see it, you can taste it, you can almost reach it. When you're not on top, there is no target on your back. You're just another face in the crowd trying to get up there, so you don't have that pressure. When you come back as a returning champion, everybody is gunning for you. Marseille was kind of like the pinnacle of my Champions Trophy career. You know, I've been doing this event, I've competed, this is my 4th time competing in it, I think. I had a really tough semi-final match against Australia, and then going against someone of Jason Wynyard's caliber, I knew I had to bring everything. And my conditioning pulled through in that.
It looks like Sterling Hart has a slight advantage. Sterling Hart gets quick on to the hits, and Hart is through first. He has got himself a Champions Trophy win.
And to finally achieve a goal like that you've been striving for your whole life, it's a really satisfying feeling. But that's also what makes it hard going forward, is you tend to relax and you almost ease off the gas pedal, and that's when somebody else younger comes screaming by you. So that's the hardest thing, is keeping your foot down on the gas.
That's a way better way to get to work, eh? We got strong stomachs, go for it. Huh? Oh yeah, we're athletes. Brad DeLosa has joined the video. That, eh? Remember him?
This is a Champions Trophy. This isn't like a silver medal race. This isn't, I hope to do better than last year. If you come here with any other expectation rather than winning, then you should not be here. So if I don't leave with a gold medal, then it's considered failure in my mind.
Sterling Hart going up against Armin Kugler, both of them wearing red, one from Canada, one from Austria. Both of them very evenly matched up, but Sterling Hart is the reigning Champions Trophy champion. He won it last year in Marseille. Will he be able to do it again this year? Let's see.
3, 2, 1, go!
Armin Kugler, a little bit of a hop there on the stock saw, and definite advantage going to Sterling Hart as he gets a clean cut there. Moving over to the underhand chop, and Sterling Hart, well, moving quickly with that accent. He's taken a page out of the Australians' book. Fast movement, switches over to the other side quickly. Armin Kugler still on the first side, as you can see. He finally switches over now, and Sterling Hart with a distinct advantage here at the underhand chop. A couple of more hits, and he should be through that block, and he now moves over to the single buck. He didn't like this discipline for a long time, as Armin Kugler just can't decide whether he wants to break through that or not. And as I was saying, Sterling Hart really didn't like this discipline, but he's been working hard on it, and he has knocked that one out of the park. Moving quickly over to the standing block chop. And he's going to work there on the first side as Armin Kugler struggling to keep up with the Canadian. It was a good matchup in the numbers to start, but Sterling Hart definitely had the advantage when they came off of that stock saw, and he basically never looked back from there. A small hop right off the start of the stock saw for Armin Kugler caused a big problem in his timing overall, and Sterling Hart, one more blow should do it. Yep, there it is, a great time of 1:12.54. Kugler still working on his block, a few more hits to do it, and he's got a time of 1:18.83.
Okay, and the winner is Sterling Hart.
I'm annoyed with myself, but it's no disappointment to lose against Sterling Hart. He's one of the most professional athletes in the world, and he trains really hard. He was champion last year. Everybody knows this. It's a little bit frustrating that I couldn't retrieve my performance, made a mistake at the stock saw. Also, it wasn't my best one at the other hand. Then I gave up all my hope to win against a great sportsman like Sterling.
Ist eigentlich alle Hoffnung verloren, gegen so einen großartigen Sportler noch irgendwas aufzuholen.
The Swedish flags are waving, so it must be Ferry's turn again. The young Swede is preparing his wood, and he wants to leave nothing to chance.
Yeah, I'm really happy that the event is finally here and I can compete. I'm really proud of representing Sweden in this competition, this Champions Trophy. But it's also coming with a lot of pressure. And all the media wants to have you, but I can get motivation out of it instead, so I can focus on my thing. That's only positive. I kind of get used to the media people now, so it's not that big deal. It's just they're there.
Really? He wanted to.
My goal this year in the Champions Trophy is to be among the top 5 guys. If I get the right journey through the competition, I can make it happen.
But Ferry now has to beat a real heavyweight.
Well, let's see if I'm successful today. We'll see what happens today in the competition, and I sure hope that it's better than last year in France.
Alrighty, Mikael Dubicki, Ferry Swan making their way onto the stage. As far as weight and power are concerned, Mikael Dubicki has the definite advantage here. But Ferry Swan has been working very hard as his mom starts to record this, and here we go. Ferry Swan starts quickly with that stock saw. Watch out for Mikael Dubicki, he's got great power though. Here you need to have finesse as they move over to the underhand chop. Ferry Swan getting in there quickly as he knows that Mikael Dubicki can really hammer that axe. Ferry, deep cut on the first side, moving over to the other side. Mikael Dubicki catching up, mom cheering him on as he really wants to have a win here in his hometown, home turf, let's say. Oh, and Mikael Dubicki gets the advantage, moving over to the single buck. Here comes Ferry Swan. Ferry getting into it quickly. Good long strokes, frantic quick strokes by Dubicki, and that caused problems as he twisted the saw and got it hooked up. Ferry Swan has now caught up and has moved just ahead of Dubicki, going over to the standing block chop. This is going to be very tight, folks. Dubicki, like I said, a power hitter. Ferry Swan going hard at it. Both of them stroke for stroke on the first side. Both of them moving over to the other side. Dead even heat now as Ferry Swan is taking a few quicker strokes here. Mikael Dubicki, he looks like he's got the top of that thing loose. Is it going to be Swan or Dubicki? It's Dubicki in 109.75, and Ferry Swan unfortunately going away from competition today with a 113.21. Wow. What a heat. Dubicki, the power hitter. Ferry Swan with all of the support from the audience on his side. Unfortunately, he's out of it. Let's look at this again. Ferry Swan was great on that stock saw. Both of the guys moved over pretty evenly. Actually, if I look at that again, it's Ferry Swan who had the advantage moving off stock saw. But here, look at this final blow from Dubicki on the other side. Just massive power there.
Okay, and the winner is Mikael Dubicki.
So Mikael Dubicki wins this one, but Ferry Swan leaves with a smile on his face, taking a personal best home at the Champions Trophy.
In the quarterfinal, I did what I could. I shot much more calm, and I stressed Dubicki pretty much, I think, because I was same as him pretty much. And then at the standing block, the last hit, I didn't get it so good. But I'm really happy with the time, a personal best again, so really good.
I am very, very proud. It was a good time. He's been training so long and so hard, and he really earned it. Finally, it pays off. I'm a really proud dad.
And there we see the defending world champion Lawrence O'Toole getting ready for his quarterfinal battle. Lawrence ensured that he was meticulously prepared for this Champions Trophy. He traveled to Sweden 10 days prior to the event to acclimatize to the environment and psych himself up. And he actually stayed at Ferry Svan's house.
Yeah, Ferry's house was awesome. You know, he's got some of the best training facilities I've seen anywhere in the world. So he's definitely taking the right steps to forward his Timbersports career in that respect. So it was really good that he was opened it up for us to come train.
Lawrence and Ferry have actually known each other for a long time.
When Ferry stayed with me for a month, you know, I was questioning him how to get in Timbersports, and then he sort of let a few things slip, that his dad was an Olympic gold medalist, and I was like, why didn't you tell me this, man? This is cool, you know? So Ferry is a great guy.
You missed a bit on my car, a little bit lower. Thanks, mate.
This is the world champion's first time at the Champions Trophy, and he's come through against some very strong competition.
Yeah, well, the competition in Australia for me went really well. I set myself a goal to win that, you know, and trained pretty early on for it, and was really happy with the results I achieved.
He's gonna be our Australian champion! It's Lawrence O'Toole!
I don't really feel too much pressure at all. I've been competing my whole life, so, you know, the pressure's only the pressure you put on yourself. Yeah, I'd love to, you know, be able to win the ring. Just have to wait and see.
Here we go, Lawrence O'Toole going up against Germany's Robert Ebner. Couple of good guys. Interesting matchup here. Should be pretty even as they're both matched up well here. All right, here we go.
2, 1, go!
Ebner with a good start on that stock saw. Ooh, look at that. Pretty even drop on both cookies. And Ebner gets quickly over to the underhand chop. He knows he has got a massive challenge on his hands against O'Toole, because when O'Toole gets those long arms and that axe moving, there is no chunk of wood that can withstand that power. And both of them on the other side. O'Toole just slightly behind Ebner here on the underhand chop, but the chopperoo, O'Toole gets through first to go to that single buck. And now, here comes Ebner. We saw Ebner do very well on the single buck earlier, but those long arms and long legs of O'Toole, I'm telling you, O'Toole's legs start at his shoulders, and he gets through that single buck quickly and moves to standing block chop. Ebner not that far behind, coming over to the standing block. It's an Australian against a German, against a chunk of wood, and it is a good battle. O'Toole moves to the other side. He's highly motivated as he slabs out a couple of big ones, and that top is looking real loose, and O'Toole gets through in a fantastic 103.14. Ebner also good with 108.35. Wow, great heat.
This guy is a machine. That is unreal.
All right, great sportsmanship as we look back at the slow-mos here. Ebner was actually a little bit faster than O'Toole was on this stock saw. You can see Ebner was a little more efficient with his connection to the wood, got through there and over to the underhand chop faster, but here was the decisive moment with the top of that block shaking and just looking super sketchy. O'Toole, one final blow, and like I said, a fantastic time.
Okay, and the winner is Lawrence O'Toole.
So I guess I put him under pressure a little bit, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. I mean, it was 4 seconds difference. I think I showed a good performance. Probably I'm around the 5th place. It's not too bad to leave a few professionals behind, right?
So the semis are set. Matt Kogar against Sterling Hart in a battle of the 49th parallel, and Lawrence O'Toole will go head-to-head with Mikael Dubecki.
When you get to the semifinals and the finals, about who has the experience, who's used to doing that. It's who's done the training, who's built up that muscle memory, and who knows how to get the job done.
Sterling is up against Matt Kogar.
Yeah, the goal is cut well under a minute, but I just want to beat that personal best that I have of minute 3 at home.
All right, here we go. A battle of the 49th parallel, a North American heat here on Swedish soil in this semifinal. Which of these two athletes will make it to the final? Will it be the reigning champion, Sterling Hart, setting his single buck? Or will it be the American who will make it? Find out now. Go! Sterling Hart, really quick start on that stock saw, very fast up there, but it looks like Matt Kogar is slightly faster. Ooh, both cookies drop pretty evenly as they move over to the underhand chop. Huge slab coming off for Sterling as he powers through that underhand like he has done in every heat so far. Moving over to the other side quickly, both of them at the same time. Man, this is a speedy heat right now. If you look at the time that is elapsing in the middle of the screen up there, Sterling almost threw that axe back to the audience. He got through there so quickly. Now both over to the single buck. Sterling Hart been working hard on this discipline. A huge stall by Matt Kogar will cost him time, and Sterling Hart gets a bow as well, but manages to get over to the standing block chop just before Matt Kogar. And here is what it's all going to come down to. Who can get the blows through faster on the standing block chop? Sterling Hart got his axe caught, and that gave the opportunity for Matt Kogar to move over to the other side just ahead of Sterling. Sterling now working the other side. Matt Kogar looking very strong though. Holy moly! Look at the drop of the block at 101. Even personal best for Matt Kogar. Sterling Hart having trouble and finally drops it at 110.40. He'll be disappointed with that time, and Matt Kogar moving to the final. Looking back here, there is Sterling Hart. He had a good start, but Matt Kogar was just a hair faster. And then Sterling managed to make up time as they came back to the single buck from the underhand chop. But the tell-all in this heat was the standing block chop, where Matt Kogar was just a little bit stronger. And there you go, final blow by Kogar, beautiful.
Okay, and the winner is Matt Kogar.
So the USA's Matt Kogar moves to his first Champions Trophy final.
I was right with him coming into the standing block, but his conditioning and his power are just so strong.
Next heat, Mikael Dubicki will meet Lawrence O'Toole in the second semifinal.
Yeah, I'd love to, be able to win the ring. Just have to wait and see.
All right, a couple of power hitters coming out onto the stage, both of them the same age. Mikael Dubicki, we saw earlier on, he is just super strong, and he is ready for competition here in this semifinal number 2 against that man, Lawrence O'Toole, who would love to have that ring on his finger and make it a nearly perfect year for him.
3, 2, 1, go!
A high start for O'Toole. He blocks in there quickly. Dubicki right there with them, pretty even on both of their parts to get over to the underhand chop. And now, look at the speed of the axe by Lawrence O'Toole. Mikael Dubicki following suit though this time. Not going for those high, heavy hits, but opting for short chops and getting in there as quick as possible to slab out as much as possible and get over to the next discipline quickly. Oh, but he's in trouble now. A couple of catches of the axe, and O'Toole and his long arms and legs has a distinct advantage as Dubicki frantically starts to work that single buck. Oh, a huge catch by O'Toole, and he's in big trouble. He needs to do those long strokes to catch up to Dubicki, who's almost at the bottom, and O'Toole gets caught again. Dubicki advantage going into the standing block chop. O'Toole is strong on this discipline though. Let's see if he can get there. Dubicki with the advantage, moving over to the other side. O'Toole right there with them. Very close heat as it's gone back and forth from the standing block. Oh my goodness, O'Toole does it in 104.19. I thought Dubicki was going to have it, but he finally dropped the block in 107.07. Look at the focus on Lawrence O'Toole's face here in that single buck. He had so many problems there. It looked like that was going to be it for his competition day, but he managed to come back in the standing block chop against that man, Mikael Dubicki, who is such a power hitter. Look at the blows that he is giving that block there as that axe just takes out huge amounts of wood.
Okay, and the winner is Lawrence O'Toole.
Now, Mikkel Dubicki seems to have sustained a minor injury to his leg, while everything is going according to plan for Lawrence O'Toole, who at his first Champions Trophy will be going to the final up against Matt Kogar. Mikkel Dubicki can no longer compete for third place, which means it automatically goes uncontested to Sterling Hart.
I guess you can get a little nervous, but I think at this point it's natural. So it's just one of those things that just happens automatically. You know, once the stand to your timber comes up, it's automatic. It just clicks in and you just go and not worry about it.
You want to be in it to win it, so you got to keep pushing even if you are behind. But you know, I'm pretty confident that if I am behind at any stage, I've got the ability to just keep going and hopefully make up that time where it needs to be made up.
Matt Kogar and Lawrence O'Toole. Lawrence O'Toole walks into this competition with some serious confidence, being the individual world champion, and Lawrence O'Toole is a big man. He's strong. We've seen how well he can do this job. Meanwhile, Matt Kogar, he's the guy who can relax a little bit. He knows he's got the skills, but can he beat a man like O'Toole? Let's find out.
Timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, with the pressure on both of these gentlemen, they start off with the stock saw. Looks good, and even on both sides. Again, Matt Kogar with a very fast stock saw, and moving over to the underhand chop, it's O'Toole getting in there right away and quickly with that fast axe of his. Over to the other side, both of them pretty much on par with each other here. Matt Kogar just gets through and has the advantage going to single buck. O'Toole, we've seen, has had trouble with the single buck timing, and again, can't get that thing started. Meanwhile, Matt Kogar has got his stuck pretty big time as well. Has to restart that long 2-meter saw. So both of these guys having problems on this one discipline where there is no wedge and oil help, by the way. Okay, here we go on to the standing block chop. Quick hits by Matt Kogar. Lawrence O'Toole coming strong from behind now. Matt Kogar moving over to the other side. O'Toole now moving over to the other side. Man, look at this. It's going to be Matt Kogar by the looks of it. And a quick final blow for Matt Kogar with 103.92. And he is super happy with the win here at the Champions Trophy in Sweden. Unbelievable. There's almost tears in his eyes as he goes over to shake Lawrence O'Toole's hand. Let's watch the start here again. Both of these guys were great on stock saw. Fantastic effort. On the underhand, it was that man right there, Matt Kogar, who was definitely faster than O'Toole, and both of them struggled here on this single buck, catching the saw on a number of occasions. There you see that one huge bow of the saw, and that thing is so hard to restart. And then that final fantastic blow, and a quick look over at Lawrence O'Toole to know that he's just done it. Matt Kogar, the winner.
Okay, and the winner is Matt Kogar!
Look at that face, that says it all.
I come off and look, like I kind of just set the axe down a little bit, looked out of the corner of my eye and just saw him still putting the last hit in, and I was just like, yeah.
That's the end of the STIHL Timbersports Champions Trophy 2019 in Sweden. 12 of the best athletes in the world providing us with a thrilling competition. So who are the top 3 taking these medals home? Bronze goes to Canadian star Sterling Hart. The world champion from Australia, Anna Chopperoo, wins the silver in his Champions Trophy debut. And the STIHL Timbersports Champions Trophy winner 2019, his name is Matt Kogar from the USA. He's won his first international STIHL Timbersports title and joins prestigious company, and now can put on the champion's ring. Now it's time for the champagne showers.
Sweden has been an awesome host country for this Champions Trophy. We can't wait to come back again in the future. And yeah, what more can you ask for? Leave them with a medal. That's all you can hope for.
Yeah, you know, I was pretty happy how I performed. I went as good as I could, so I just couldn't get over the line at the end. Matt was too strong on the day, but I'm sure we'll have many more battles to come, and hopefully one day I'll be able to win the Champions Trophy.
I can't get over the feeling. It's unreal. You know, I just come here just to put the best cut I could forward, and then, yeah, just to get to walk away with gold. It's living the dream, man, right there.
So that was the incredible final of the STIHL Timbersports Champions Trophy 2019. Matt Kogar winning the title. Lawrence O'Toole is the runner-up, and Sterling Hart takes third place.